Hey everybody, it's Nathan Cool with NathanCoolPhoto.com, and I wanted to provide some information today on something that's useful not just for real estate photographers but also for realtors. I want to put a couple things to rest to kind of help you understand a little bit more about how real estate photos can help you market your properties. Now, one of the first things you're going to think is, well, Nathan's a real estate photographer. The first things he's going to say is the best things in life are going to come from my photos. But I'm going to tell you a couple different secrets, and one of the first things is to answer the lifelong wondered question is, do photos count? Do real estate photos really make a difference when it comes to marketing your property? And the first thing you're going to think is, of course, Nathan's going to say yes, but my answer actually might surprise you. My answer is, it depends. So once again, you have a tool that you can use to market something, but if it's not actually executed properly, then it really might not help you, because as we all know, it's not just photos that sell a property. There's a lot more to it, and there's also buyer psychology. So I want to cover a couple different things. First thing right off the bat, I want to just put something to rest so that everybody does realize this. There's an old wives' tale out there that says that the more photos that you have online, the faster your house is going to sell. So I'd like to put that to rest right now. What I've done, along with these statistics I'm going to show you in just a second, is also some other statistics to show how well the photo quality actually applies to it. What I've done is I've taken homes in this area that range between $700,000 and $800,000. That's about average median for this particular area here around Thousand Oaks, California. And in that, I've been able to then take a even pool of different types of houses that have different types of photographs. I'm able to put those into proper buckets, and those wondering about statistics, I've made histograms out of this. But the first thing is, let's take a look at how the search results really matter when you're talking about number of photos. So one of the things you can see right off the bat is that this looks looks very sporadic, and the reason being is that it really doesn't matter. So if you take a look real closely here, we've got results from Zillow, Realtor, and also Redfin, and this is just looking for homes that are between $700,000 and $800,000 and to see if it matters. And this is the search order from left to right. As we can see, the number of photos really doesn't seem to matter. In fact, the most photos right in about the center happen to show right in about the middle range of the search results when it came to most of the search engines, at least to Redfin and Zillow. So that right off the bat really doesn't tell us much. There's really no sense as to the number of photos and how fast or they'll sell. It really doesn't then matter how these show up in the search results. It really doesn't have any bearing on it. A lot of other things do. In fact, if you contact Zillow or Realtor and ask them for advice on this, they'll tell you it really depends on two things. One, if it's Zillow, they have walkthrough videos that you can do with a cell phone. They're very low quality, but for some reason, since it's the marketable thing they can charge a realtor for, those are things that they can then put at the top of their list. So it's to their advantage if they provide particular services, but it has no bearing on MLS or any of the other services like Redfin, Trulia, and whatnot, Realtor.com, that feed off of that MLS feed. It's just the order in which they actually got put into the system. So that really doesn't matter. Other filters will apply to that. If somebody's looking for something that has so many bedrooms, so many baths, those things will then order the search results. But just to put that to rest, the number of photos won't matter. So does the number of photos, though, have any bearing besides the search results on how well a home can sell? So let's take a look at that next. So let's take a look here at this chart. This is the minimum number of days on market, how fast a house sold, to the number of photos. Now what I've done is I've grouped these together into buckets. The number of photos being 10 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, and 41 to 50. And as you can see, there's actually a minimum number of days on market that falls right around that 21 to 40 range. Once we get into more photos, it doesn't seem to have any bearing. But one of the things you'd have to bear in mind is that most photography packages come between 20 and 40 pictures. So that could have a bearing on it. One of the interesting things, though, to note is that with that lower number that we have between 10 and 20 or so pictures, when they're very low, there's very little movement on that. And of course, that also means that it might not be a house that's marketed very well. So it might not have even had that apply. But either way, the number of photos doesn't even seem to really matter when it comes to actually pushing a house. And there's a couple reasons for that as well. One, it's also known as the paradox of choice. If you have too many choices, too many pictures, the person just might move on. Don't forget, they're swiping through many different houses houses to see if a house might even interest them to look further. They don't have much time, let alone looking through 50, 60 pictures. The other thing that can happen too is a person's looking at all of these photos and they go, hey, this is great, and then one picture comes up that looks like this, and it starts to taint their view of the entire house. It's all or nothing type thinking. And so it's one of those obstacles that a buyer could run across. So one of the things you can ask yourself is, do I want to go ahead and show all of this? And of course you can fall under what's called the information bias, where you have so much information, somebody thinks they have enough information to make a decision. If you're showing every bathroom, every bedroom, you're showing every walk-in closet, unless it's stellar and it stands out and would really be a selling point to a buyer, there might not be any sense of putting it out there, since it could bias their view of the entire property. It's just a little bit of psychology that falls into that. So the next thing I'd like to cover though is the photo quality and how that applies to the purchase decisions that you might find from potential buyers. So we can see how the number of photos has almost no bearing at all on what it takes to market it. Now, to market a good property, you can't just have one photo, and it doesn't really help to have 100. So there is kind of a sweet spot in there. And one of the things pointed out is that there is kind of a common package number between 20 and 40 photos, and 25, 30 seems to be kind of a sweet spot. One of the reasons being is, of course, it's the attention span that we have. And that with that attention span, it's not just looking through the photos and, okay, I'm at number 40. Oh, I'm at number 65. You know, have I seen all that I need to of the property? Do I have enough information to make my own decision, or is there just a little bit of information lacking that will tease me into actually calling the realtor to get more information? But more so, someone will just all of a sudden stop looking at those pictures if the quality looks terrible. They may. I shouldn't say that they will, because there could be someone that does give some forgiveness to the pictures, but human psychology also says that the better something looks, the more likely I am to look at it. That's why you might walk up to an attractive person, for instance, and your pupils will dilate. That's just nature. It's psychology. So we see that also. But not just taking my word for it, let's go back to those statistics again. Once again, same set of statistics that takes that range here in around Thousand Oaks area from $700,000 to $800,000 for a home, and let's put that into quality. So I've taken 50 homes. I've broken those 50 homes into 5 different buckets so that we have real low quality photos, we've got then high quality photos, low quality being a 1, high quality being a 5, and then something in between there. So a 3 would be an average real estate picture. It's not bad. It's not really all that good. It really doesn't stand out. And then 4 starts getting into where, hey, this is a pretty good picture, and 5 is like, this should be an architectural digest. So we can take a look at those. So 2 things I want to cover with that real quick to show you how that does matter on the statistics. 1, it's how fast did houses sell that had a certain quality of photo, and the other one is what was the price that it actually sold for compared to list. In other words, did it actually help get more money out of the sale of a house? So let's take a look at those 2 statistics and see how the quality of the photos mattered. So the first thing taking a look at is the days on the market. This is how fast or slow something sold. And you can just see real quick at the bottom we've got, that's the quality of the photo itself. And we take a look at qualities 1 and 2, the lower ones, they don't sell too bad. You're taking a look though, they're up to about 120 days. So we're taking a look at about 4 months being on the market. And in a hot market around Southern California, that's an eternity. When we go to the other end of the spectrum, you can notice the 4 and 5s are a lot lower. In fact, it's not the best quality photos that actually sell the fastest, but they do sell faster than others. But also it's within that 4 to 5 quality range, something that's really good, and of course then architectural digest worthy. What's interesting is that the average photos, just the average everyday, what you'd normally see out there, what we talk about as being just like some HDR, nothing super special about the photos, those houses tend to stay on the market the longest. So that's just actually from statistics on that. But does that really actually matter? So your house could stay on the market longer, but if you're going to make more off of that being on the market longer, then maybe it'd be worth it, right? If you could do that. So let's take a look at the next statistics, which show how much profit could actually come from the type of quality of photo. So when we take a look at this graph, we can see something a little glaring. Now, this is a little bit different from the last graph. This is actually the sale price of list. So what did the house sell for? And immediately you can see that when we get into that 4 and 5 range, when we get into those really good real estate photo quality, they definitely sell for what they're being asked for. In fact, almost near 100% of list is what they're being sold for. Once again, that average, if you recall, on the quality of photo compared to the number of days on the market, they were longer. It also had a lower final sale price. So when we combine these things together, it becomes obvious of two things. One, the high quality photo doesn't just sell the house faster, but it also gets you more out of it. And why is that? Now, there's a couple things you could immediately say. It's like, well, the person who's using a high-end professional photographer could also know how to market that house very well. And that could also have to be worked into some of the statistics if we were actually going to do a scientific paper on this study. But a lot of that also results in the type of home that it could be. But once again, we're falling between that $700,000 and $800,000 range in the exact same area during the exact same time frame for gathering these statistics. So a lot of that does boil down to psychology. When somebody sees a really good house, it's something that's got really great pictures involved with it, and it's also the right number of photos when we go back to our original statistics, we see that there's a psychology involved that can actually lure the buyer in. There's more people that have a better chance of going to your open houses. There's more chances of people actually then giving you a call instead of saying, I've got enough information on this, I don't need to pick up a phone and call another salesperson. And that's something else to remember, is that it's not, there's a lot of stuff going on with a buyer, and you know this. The last thing they want to deal with is a whole bunch of different realtors. People selling them this, people selling them that. But when they see something that's really worthwhile, they may be more drawn into it. So once again, just to recap some of this, the number of photos really doesn't count. There is a sweet spot though. You don't want to have just one, you don't want to have 100, but something in between. The most important thing is, besides the number of photos, is that the number of photos reflects the selling points of the house. What are the things that are going to lure the buyer into wanting to know more and see this? Don't just throw stuff in there. If you do feel though that you need to have more photos, I would suggest thinking about community photos. That's something that I provide. Community photos, for instance, like this in Thousand Oaks. Or if you're near the beach, some beach shots that I also have. Also, possibly in Ventura, there's things of the colleges, and even in Camarillo, there's downtown, and some of the shots from the college, and parks, and various things. Those are the things that I also provide, and you can ask me about the pricing on that, that you can then use over and over again for all of your listings to put that in there to try to sell not just the home, but to sell the community. And when we talk about selling the home and the community, the number of photos, the quality of photos and all that, it isn't just to sell this property, it's also to sell you. When you're seen as a realtor that can sell homes, you're going to be the one that other sellers want to be represented by. Well, anyways, I hope this was very helpful to you. If you did like this information in this video, I provide a lot of tutorials for real estate photography here online. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel, and if you do, you'll be notified as soon as one of these type of videos is posted. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope this information was useful, and be able to feel free to contact me and check out my website at nathancoolphoto.com. Take care.